If you've ever wondered what raw truth sounds like, what music born straight from the bones of life feels like, then you've already heard a piece of Lightnin Hopkins, even if you didn't know his name. Today, we're going on a journey, not just through music history, but through the life of a man who didn't just play the blues, he was the blues. Sam Hopkins was born in Centerville, Texas, in 1912. This was a time and place where the blues was not a genre you chose from a playlist. It was a lifeline. His family worked the fields, facing the daily grind of hardship, and found their comfort in stories and songs. And young Sam, he was a sponge. He listened, he watched, he soaked it all in. Those who knew him back then remembered a little boy with a homemade guitar, sitting and watching the older bluesmen play, his eyes glued to their fingers, his mind absorbing their rhythm, their grit. Then came a moment that would change everything. He met the legendary Blind Lemon Jefferson. Imagine being a kid and meeting your hero. Blind Lemon didn't just inspire him, he validated him. He showed young Sam that the blues wasn't just for old men with weathered faces. It was for anyone with a story to tell, a feeling to share. Even at that young age, Sam's playing was so sharp, so full of spark, that people said his hands moved like lightning. The name stuck, and Sam Hopkins became Lightnin Hopkins. Lightning didn't just play the guitar, he spoke through it. His main instrument was a steel string acoustic, usually beaten up, bruised, and scarred from a life on the road. But in his hands, that old guitar was alive. Later, he'd switch to an electric, often a hollow-body Gibson, which gave him that gritty, warm, almost human tone. His style was completely his own. The timing was loose, making every song feel like a personal conversation he was having with you right then and there. He'd play these incredible bass lines with just his thumb, while his fingers danced across the strings, picking out melodies that seemed to come from another world. The lyrics? He often made them up on the spot, like he was letting you in on a secret he'd just thought of. He'd stomp his foot to keep time, he'd drag out a phrase for emphasis, he'd bend a note until it sounded like it was crying. Listening to Lightning, Hopkins was like sitting on a dusty front porch with a wise old soul who had lived 100 lifetimes and was ready to tell you about every single one. Hopkins didn't follow the music industry. The industry followed him. In the 1940s, he moved to Houston, and the city's rough-and-tumble clubs became his classroom and his stage. He recorded hundreds of tracks throughout his life, many of them in a single take. Producers learned quickly not to tell him what to do. They knew better. You just had to turn on the microphone and let lightning be lightning. He created music the same way he lived his life. Unfiltered, unpolished, and completely real. He played every kind of blues imaginable: country blues, talking blues, boogie blues, even spirituals. But no matter the style, it always sounded like him. There was no mistaking it. His voice could tell you everything you needed to know about a moment without ever explaining a thing. And the guitar, it was his shadow, his other voice, following him everywhere he went. He wasn't just a musician, he was a storyteller, and his instrument was his core. Lightnin Hopkins didn't just leave behind a collection of songs. He left behind blueprints for future generations of musicians. His fingerprints are all over the playing styles of some of the biggest names in music history. You can hear his influence in the wild solos of Jimi Hendrix, the fiery licks of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and the poetic storytelling of Bob Dylan and Townes Van Zandt. Even rock giants, like the Rolling Stones and his fellow bluesmen, John Lee Hooker, took pages from his book. Modern blues and rock guitarists today still quote his licks, those tight, talking riffs, that thumb-driven bass, those emotionally charged bends that can break your hearts. His influence stretches far beyond the blues. He shaped folk rock, country, and even the sampling culture of hip-hop through the sheer, raw honesty of his recordings. But perhaps his most important lesson was this. Lightnin Hopkins showed the world that music didn't have to be perfect to be powerful. It just had to be honest. He was never a superstar in the way we think of them today. He didn't chase fame, he didn't follow trends, and he certainly didn't care about radio hits. What he chased was truth. From that first homemade guitar in his backyard to sold-out concerts later in his life, everything he played was shaped by the dusty roads he walked, the people he loved, the pain he carried, and the simple joys he found along the way. Lightnin Hopkins left behind a sound that still crackles like a distant thunderstorm on a hot summer night. It's a sound that reminds us that the blues isn't just about sadness. It's about survival, and Lightnin Hopkins survived with unparalleled style, soul, and a whole lot of electricity. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.